Tonight on News Center Maine.
We understand that people have taken some time to wrap their heads around those rules. We have to follow the law as it is written.
We have an update on ranked choice voting in Maine's 2nd Congressional District as the Secretary of State's office still has multiple counties to sort through. Plus,
we continue to believe today that the law is unconstitutional.
The state's new 3-day waiting period on gun sales is being challenged in court. And later, President-elect Donald Trump is announcing people for his new administration, today nominating a Florida congressman to serve as U.S. Attorney General. How Maine senators have responded to the controversial nomination. This is News Center Maine at 11. We begin tonight in the town of Harrison, where one man was injured after he was shot by police. Police say the man first shot multiple rounds in their direction. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sam Olson. News Center Maine's Donovan Lynch has the latest from the scene in Harrison.
We're here in the town of Harrison, where a man was seriously injured after being shot by police following an armed confrontation. At around 1:15 this afternoon, deputies with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office responded to Hawk Ridge Road after a call from a man there saying he was armed and threatening to hurt himself. When police arrived, they say that man, identified as 57-year-old Arthur Lefebvre, shot at deputies. We're told there were other family members nearby at the time. Police say they then were trying to communicate with Lefebvre when he confronted the deputies with a gun. 3 deputies, we're told, shot and injured Lefebvre. He was taken by life flight to Maine Medical Center. Police say his injuries do not appear to be life-threatening at this point. And as for the sheriff's deputies involved, they've been placed on administrative leave, which is standard protocol, and the Office of the Attorney General will be investigating the use of deadly force by police. We also know the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office is investigating what they call, quote, the underlying criminal conduct of this incident. In Harrison, Donovan Lynch, News Center, Maine.
Maranacook Community Middle and High Schools will be closed tomorrow due to a, quote, concerning incident. The school district posted a notice to its website announcing the middle school's closure, which covers the towns of Manchester, Mount Vernon, Reedfield, and Wayne. It says they are working with the school resource officer and the Kennebec Sheriff's Department to fully investigate the incident, and the decision to close was made out of an abundance of caution. An additional notice was later added to the site saying after further consultation with the school resource officer, the high school would be closed as well, and all parent-teacher conferences, practices, and meetings for the day are canceled. We've reached out to both school and sheriff officials for more information, and we have not heard back. We'll keep you updated both on air and online as we learn more. Maine's 72-hour waiting period for gun purchases went into effect 3 months ago. Now that law faces a legal challenge from gun rights groups. News Center Maine's Alex Haskell has the details after speaking with advocates on different sides of this issue.
Maine lawmakers have responded to the Lewiston mass shootings that killed 18 people with a series of gun control bills passed by Democrats. One of those requires a 3-day waiting period to buy a firearm. It took effect in August.
We made it public on several occasions that if the legislature passed it, we would challenge it.
Now, local gun rights groups are following up on that promise. A coalition including Gun Owners of Maine, the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, and other partners have filed a lawsuit challenging the law.
We continue to believe today that the law is unconstitutional.
The suit is filed against Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry in U.S. District Court. The gun rights groups are being represented by Clement & Murphy, a law firm with experience in Supreme Court cases, specifically as they relate to the Second Amendment.
The fact that there's a legal challenge doesn't come as a surprise.
Gun safety advocates argue waiting periods can serve as effective deterrents for impulsive decisions that may lead to harm.
In Maine, a state where nearly 90% of gun deaths are suicides, this is a much needed law.
One advocates say has survived legal challenges in other states, giving them hope the same will happen here in Maine.
The best case possible has been put forward, and now this is in the hands of the court and our attorneys.
Meanwhile, those behind the lawsuit are waiting to see what happens next. Alex Haskell, News Center, Maine.
Gun rights groups say they also expect challenges to the law outside the courtroom. The director for the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine says some state lawmakers have drafted legislation to appeal it. In other news, the Maine Forest Service is looking into the cause of a brush fire in Hollis that destroyed a snowmobile club late last night. The Hollis fire chief says this was in the area of River Road. Crews were able to put the fire out around 1:15 this morning. They estimate it was just under 1 acre. We don't know if anyone was hurt. Meanwhile, dry and windy conditions are putting most of the state at a high or very high level of fire danger. The Maine Forest Service released this map today. Southern, western, and central Maine are considered very high risk, while Orono North and down east are high risk. Just a small sliver up north in the Allagash region is considered moderate risk. Let's get a first check your forecast with meteorologist Ryan Breton. Ryan, will any rain be on the way?
You know, just a little bit. It looks like Friday into Saturday, Sam. So unfortunately, the brush fire risk is going to remain high for quite a while, especially tomorrow and in parts of the state on Friday, especially southern and western Maine, where we don't get too much rain. It's cold out there right now, down to 20 in Freiburg, 28 in Bangor, 31 right now in Portland. The sky is nice and clear, and high pressure is sending down this chill. What we're watching for Friday and Saturday is this storm offshore, and it will actually back up toward us, but unfortunately we won't get a ton of precipitation as it approaches. So these are the low temperatures early tomorrow morning, waking up to teens in many spots, around 20 degrees on the coastline. So a cold start to the day tomorrow, but lots of sunshine. High temperatures in most spots will get to at least 40 and possibly the mid 40s over parts of southern Maine. There will be a bit of a breeze coming in out of the north, not as gusty as it's been, but enough that brush fire risk will be elevated tomorrow as well. We'll take a look at any potential rain in the weekend too, coming up, Sam.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Day 2 in the ranked choice count to determine who will represent Maine's 2nd congressional district wrapped up today. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows says her team still has 8 more counties to sort through before we'll know whether Jared Golden or Austin Theriault came out on top. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten spoke with both campaigns today.
We know election night was long for some.
Just like election night, ranked choice vote tabulations take time. Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows and her team moving quickly Wednesday, verifying votes from both Aroostook and Washington County before 3 p.m.
Both campaigns were able to look at the totals based on ballots scanned here at 45 Commerce Drive and verify that what we had here matches totals from election night.
Lawyers from both the Jared Golden and Austin Theriault campaigns stick around, asking to see ballots stored in boxes from the towns of Ripley and Mercer. With this year's election being Maine's highest voter turnout in history, Bellows says poll workers in both towns ran out of secured metal ballot boxes used to store ballots, forcing them to place referendum ballots in sealed cardboard boxes. Golden's senior advisor, Bobby Reynolds, says that when he looks at preliminary results showing that his candidate secured a little more than 196,000 votes and Theriault fell behind with just over 193,000 votes, and the third declared write-in candidate wheeled in some 400 votes, he believes Golden won the election outright.
We did disagree, or we had a different opinion than the Secretary of State did on determining whether the congressman received more than 50% of the vote. But having said that, we respect the Secretary of State's position right now, and we're not intervening to stop anything.
But Bellows says Reynolds is forgetting about the 12,000 other voters who wrote in an undeclared candidate as their first ranked choice.
We understand that people have taken some time to wrap their heads around those rules. We have to follow the law as it is written.
You don't have to like the law, but it is the law, and we look forward to seeing this through and following the law and seeing all results counted.
At the pace they're going, Bellows says she feels confident that they'll have tabulation results from all 11 counties in Congressional District 2 by the end of the week. In Augusta, Raya Wooten, News Center Maine.
One of the two men who pleaded guilty to holding two mail carriers at knife point and breaking into two post offices was sentenced today. Winston McLeod from New Jersey was sentenced to just under 5 years in prison and 3 years of supervised release. According to court documents, McLeod and Lance Funderburk broke into the Paris and North Monmouth post offices back in January and stole office equipment like printers and computers. The two also robbed two postal workers in Lewiston. Funderburk hasn't been sentenced yet. And there's an appeal to stop the expansion of the Juniper Ridge landfill. The Penobscot Nation and Conservation Law Foundation are filing the appeal. They claim the expansion would have a bigger negative impact on the environment. About a month ago, the Maine Department of Environmental Protection gave the green light for Casella to add 12 million cubic yards to the landfill. The DEP says Casella must install a system to treat PFAS that comes from the landfill to help with environmental concerns. There's still a lot more news to come here on News Center Maine at 11, and Aroostook County establishment is closing after 2.5 decades. The details and more headlines are next in your Evening Rush. Time for your Evening Rush. The National Marine Fisheries Service is reviewing a permit application for the transshipment of farmed salmon from Maine to Canada. The application involves Canadian vessels transporting salmon from aquaculture operations in Maine waters to processing plants in Blacks Harbor, Canada. This will take place within 12 nautical miles of Maine's seaward boundary. This decision could impact local aquaculture operations and the marine environment in Maine. NMFS is taking public comments on this issue until November 27th. A big outdoors venue in Aroostook County is closing after 25 years. The Nordic Heritage Outdoor Center made this announcement on social media yesterday, saying the operating agreement with the city of Presque Isle was terminated. Leaders at the center say maintaining the current operations presented some significant challenges. The venue has hosted the Biathlon World Cup, provided programs for kids and adults, and has mixed-use trails for the public to use. It is expected that the center will close on or around December 1st. $7 million in grants are heading to Maine technology companies. These funds come from the final round of the Prime Fund, part of Governor Janet Mills's Maine Jobs and Recovery Plan. The awards target sectors like biotech, agriculture, and precision manufacturing to help companies still recovering from the pandemic. Nearly 60% of grants went to businesses that hadn't received prior relief funding. Governor Mills says the grants will help innovate and create new jobs while building a more diverse economy for Maine's future. And that's your Evening Rush, but still ahead tonight, Maine senators respond to President-elect Trump's latest cabinet announcement.
And it's turned quite chilly around here. Tomorrow will be another bright but cold day after a quite cold start. We'll look ahead to the weekend and whether or not we get any significant rain.
Before we check in with Ryan, let's check in with you. As temperatures drop, it can be a bit of an adjustment for all of us, including Tucker here as he gets reacquainted with ice. Thanks to Cindy for sharing. Remember, you can always share your photos and videos with us using the Near Me section of the News Center Maine app.
A lot of those bird baths and other little areas of water are going to be frozen up solid tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and Tucker's not the only one that's going to have to get used to the cold.
Definitely not. Even for me today, it was definitely an adjustment. I went for a run without gloves on, and I think my hands are still a little chilly because of it. Yeah, but check out the numbers right now, Sam. Here we are at 11:17, and we are into the upper 20s and low 30s in most spots. But notice some of our typically cooler areas. They're in the valleys. Freiburg down to 20, Berlin, New Hampshire at 20, Sanford at 23. Those places will be in the teens by tomorrow morning. Nice and clear all across the state tonight. We have a big area of high pressure, which is sending down cold from Canada. But we're actually watching a storm offshore, which will back up toward Nova Scotia and New England Friday into Saturday. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll get a lot of rain. We need the rain. Obviously, we've been talking so much about the fire danger, but I just don't see a lot of heavy precipitation coming our way from that. So lows tonight, teens inland to low 20s on the coastline. Tomorrow is kind of a repeat of today in that we have sunshine from start to finish. A couple of degrees warmer than today, perhaps. Other than that, though, pretty much a repeat overall. We'll have a wind coming in out of the north between 5 and 15 miles per hour. Fire danger will be elevated again tomorrow. We get to 43 in Bangor and 46 in Portland, which is a couple better than we were today. Now tomorrow night, usually our weather moves from west to east, but it will be moving from east to west. That's that ocean storm I showed you backing in. And the question for Friday morning, if you're in eastern Maine, is how quickly will the precipitation come in? If it comes in around sunrise, we may get a little bit of freezing rain in spots in eastern Maine Friday morning, while southern and western Maine will still be sunny. Then the clouds advance west through the day, but there isn't a whole lot of precipitation that makes it into southern and western Maine. Just a few spotty showers, while central, eastern, and northern Maine will have off and on showers, mostly in the form of rain into Friday afternoon. So if you're in eastern areas, just be aware that Friday morning there could be a little freezing rain if that comes in quickly. And then on Saturday, it looks like the storm starts to unravel and pull away. So other than a few showers, particularly north and east, it should be mainly dry, and there should be some sun that even develops Saturday afternoon in southern and western Maine. Sunday looks like the best day of the weekend as high pressure builds in, and it will be a little bit milder on Sunday too, with high temperatures into the low 50s. Right now we are in a high astronomical tide cycle. You may remember from last winter, we call these king tides, highest tides of the month. Sometimes without a storm, you can just get some minor inundation and flooding, and it looks like each of the next 3 high tides will be close. There might be some minor inundation and splash over on vulnerable parts of the coastline. Friday morning's high tide may end up being the highest. Not expecting anything significant, but just be aware some of the usually vulnerable spots may have a little water during high tide. Seas 3 to 5 feet tomorrow, a small craft advisory up through the morning. So it's a bright but cold day tomorrow, low to mid 40s. On Friday in eastern and northern Maine, it will be wet with off and on showers. Southern and western Maine, any showers would be later in the day. A few showers on Saturday, but it should be mainly dry. And then Sunday looks dry everywhere with highs in the low 50s. And then early to mid next week, no signs of any big storms, Sam. And we really do need the rain, but just don't see too much on the forecast.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. It's starting to get a little bit more cold.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
guess you're ready for what's coming.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
New tonight, President-elect Trump was in Washington today, meeting with President Biden at the White House. Trump also announced more key roles in his administration, including his most controversial yet, nominating Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz to serve as U.S. Attorney General. Alice Barr has the latest from the White House.
Congratulations. President Biden today welcoming President-elect Trump to the White House, meeting for nearly 2 hours in a return to the traditions of a peaceful transfer of power. The president-elect offering his thanks. He did not host then President-elect Biden during the last transition as he sought to reverse the 2020 results.
Politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much.
Before the sit-down, President-elect Trump celebrating with House Republicans as NBC News now projects the GOP secured control of the House, cementing a Republican sweep.
It's always nice to win.
Another win today on Capitol Hill for South Dakota Senator John Thune, who Senate Republicans voted in as their new majority leader. He'll oversee approval of Trump administration nominees. The president-elect announcing Florida Senator Marco Rubio as his pick for Secretary of State. Matt Gaetz, his selection for Attorney General. If confirmed, the Florida congressman would lead the Justice Department that investigated him for possible sex trafficking before ending the case last year with no charges filed. He's denied wrongdoing. The choice is sparking bipartisan backlash.
I mean, this feels like a red alert moment for democracy.
Mr. Gaetz breaks things to breaks things.
President-elect Trump also naming Fox News host Pete Hegseth as his pick for Secretary of Defense. The Army National Guard veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan has argued against women in combat roles and said the military focuses too much on diversity.
Any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever, that was involved in any of the DEI woke, it's got to go.
Democrats voicing concern about that choice as well as President-elect Trump makes waves in his return to Washington. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A spokesperson for Senator Susan Collins says Collins was shocked by Gates's nomination. Senator Collins said in part, quote, "This is why the Senate's advise and consent process is so important. I'm sure that there will be many questions raised at Mr. Gates's hearing." Senator Angus King's office also commented on the nomination, saying in part, quote, "Senator King will review and consider all nominations when the next administration formally sends them to the Senate in 2025, though he acknowledges that some of those mentioned thus far do not appear to have the requisite background or experience for the important posts in question." After the break, a new chapter for a paper mill site in Bucksport that could mean a positive impact on both the environment and the economy. Since closing in 2014, the Verso paper mill site in Bucksport has remained mostly empty, but town officials say they're hoping to change that. The town and Jera Americas, a company that owns a portion of the site, are making plans to develop a clean energy facility at the former mill after being selected for the Maine Community Energy Redevelopment Program. Town manager Sue Lessard says she's not only excited for the potential addition of a clean energy option, but the impact it could have on Bucksport's economy.
If Bucksport Generation increases its power production capability, it could attract any number of very good industries for the community, things like data centers and other things that are high power users that require water.
Officials with the town and Jera Americas haven't made a final decision on what kind of clean energy site they would develop, but say they're looking at potential options like solar energy. For more than 30 years, the Brent Halsey Educational Forest in Old Town in Orono has been providing students with the opportunity to learn about the environment. It's a spin to the traditional indoor classroom setting and gets University of Maine forestry students out of the classroom and into their natural habitat. For the past 6 years, Maine School of Forest Resources Professor Dr. Jessica Leahy has brought students to volunteer there. She says it not only gives them hands-on experience, but also gives back to the community.
It's great for my college students to be able to volunteer here because as University of Maine students, they live in the Orono community and they're able to give back to the natural resources, volunteer for the Orono Land Trust, and make a great space that children can use to learn about the outdoors. And it's really meaningful to them.
Dr. Leahy says over the past 6 years, dozens of her students have volunteered at the Brent Halsey Educational Forest. And before we take a break, we want to remind you, tomorrow is our Honor Flight Maine Telethon. With your help, we're raising money to send Maine veterans to see their war memorials in the Washington, D.C. area. So many of those vets tell us the trip really gives them some closure. It's all at no cost to veterans, and that's only possible with your generous donations. All day tomorrow, we'll be telling you all about it and meeting some of the vets who've gone on one of these trips. If you'd like to learn more or donate, text the word HONOR to 828-6622 and we'll send a link right to your phone. And your good news is next. A competition is fostering camaraderie in Maine's startup community. Finally tonight, the good news. The finalists in the 3rd annual Maine Startup Challenge made their pitches in Portland tonight. The challenge is a business plan competition for Mainers of all ages, from kindergartners to adults. Finalists in each category will present their business plans to a group of judges for a chance to win a cash prize of anywhere from $500 to $8,000. The goal of the competition is to create camaraderie and advance entrepreneurship in Maine.
To be able to see all the other startups here in this room is inspiring, and to know that you're part of a community. Even if you aren't hanging out with those people every day, they're out there grinding the way that you are.
The event was created by the University of Maine Graduate and Professional Center.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Getting people excited.
Yeah, for sure. And here's a look at Sunday River. They are opening skiing starting tomorrow. So
And that's file video.
That's
we
file
should
video.
point out.
That's not from today.
Yeah, at the end, we're going to show you
Yes.
a live shot, though. First, we'll take you to the weather forecast. Oh, there's the live shot right now.
There's the live shot.
I saw a couple of flakes going by, and those were man-made flakes. Very impressive, though, to be opening on November 14th. Tomorrow, we've got sunshine. Highs will be in the low to mid-40s. Still a cold morning. And then we're watching a system that backs in for Friday. So eastern and northern Maine will have more showers on Friday. Southern and western Maine, it will be drier. And then the weekend forecast has actually gotten better. And up in the mountains, Sam, I do think that we will have several nights that will make it cold enough to keep making that snow.
Wow, perfect. Are you a big skier?
I am.
Ready?
Can't wait.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not.
We'll get you out there.
I learned last year. But all right, thanks for joining us. Have a great night.